mountain pose. And get into that mountain sensation as if we are Mauna Kea or Haleakala, really rooting down so deep with the feet that we're standing at the bottom of the ocean. And on top, the head's being sent up into the clouds and into the heavens. And inhaling, bringing the arms up over the side. Long stretch of the side body through the ribs, through everything. And then with the exhale, cascading, diving forward into our next forward fold. And inhale to halfway lift, length through the spine again. Exhale to forward fold. Then we'll step with the hands flat, one foot back and the other foot back into plank. Let's check in with the plank for a moment. Make sure the hands are right underneath the shoulders, either tucking the toes under in the back, or we can also set down onto the knees. Again, we're cultivating awareness of stability. So what feels most stable in this moment and best supported as we slowly lower down to the ground through chaturanga, onto the belly, onto the tops of the feet, hands planting flat, shoulders rolling back with our inhale to a little baby cobra. And then releasing back down, rolling through the spine. We'll take that a couple more times just to create a little more mobility in the upper back. And if it feels good, we can also bring the hands even wider and onto the fingertips. Some people like this position to work cobra. I sometimes do, sometimes don't. You can experiment. Sometimes I'd rather have my hands right alongside the shoulders and just slowly articulate through the upper back and neck to peek up and then roll back down with the exhale. And then once more, rippling and rolling through our cobra. And exhaling down. Then we'll tuck the toes under in the back again. Inhale to come up to our plank. And exhale brings us back to downward facing dog. Then planting both hands in the left foot deeply into our floor, we'll send the right foot up and back to three-legged dog, keeping the hips closed for now. And then with the exhale, knee comes into the chest and we'll step in between the hands next to the right thumb. Gently releasing the back knee down and maybe the top of the foot. And we'll come up to our low lunge with inhale. And leaving the arms and head high in the air, sinking a little bit down with the hips on the exhale. Sensing length between our fingertips and our back toes on the next inhale. Like a beautiful crescent moon. And on the next exhale, letting the hands drift back down to the floor, planting them strongly, tucking the back toes under, and returning the right foot back to our plank, either high or onto the knees and through our chaturanga, flowing forward into our small cobra or up a little bit higher to upward dog. And then floating the hips back up into our downward dog with the inhale. And exhale through the mouth if you like. just to give us a little outlet, a little sigh. You can also let the lips flap, letting go of any tension in the face and the neck. And then with the next inhale, hands are nice and connected to the floor in the right foot, while the left foot sends up, floating to our three-legged dog. And with the exhale, knee comes towards the nose and steps forward next to the left thumb. And we'll set up our low lunge on this side, softly releasing the knee down to the ground and the toes perhaps as well. And with the inhale, rising in the upper body, arms and spine. And with the exhale, holding that space above us while the hips sink down, gently creating space in the hip joints in the back. And inhale, growing a little bit more in length, spaciousness. And exhale, floating the hands back down alongside the front foot, tucking the back toes under. And again to our plank, flowing through chaturanga, savoring the warmth as it builds. Inhaling up, cobra or upward dog, exhaling back into downward dog. Looking at between the hands, we can take that same heel ball toe walk forward if that felt nice and want to explore that some more. Or we can also shift back and forth a little bit and then spring or float ourselves with both feet up between the hands. And when we arrive there, inhaling to a long flat back, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rolling and spiraling all the way up, bringing the arms over the side above us. And exhaling, bringing the hands to the heart center. Letting the hands float alongside. We'll close the eyes here and reconnect with our mountain pose, grounding each individual toe joint down onto the floor, feeling the pressure of the heel against the floor, the outer edge of the foot, and all the surfaces that are contacting with our surface beneath us. And from that ground of support, we'll come through our next inhale, bringing the arms over the side and up. And then back down, swan diving forward for our next sun salutation variation. So here we can bring the big toes together, a little bit narrower, less stable, but still nice broad base through the toes and heels. And with our next inhale, we'll sit back, squeezing the thighs together into our chair pose. For a moment, sensing length from the tailbone through the whole spine, out the top of the head and fingertips. And then bringing the palms together to the heart center. We'll take right elbow to left thigh for a gentle twist. So hooking that elbow or upper arm over the left thigh, checking on the knees that are both still facing forward and not twisting. Instead, the upper body twisting open to the side, chest shining up to the side and almost to the ceiling. And then release. Reach the arms overhead to sit back to our neutral chair, sitting right in the middle. Inhale here and exhale, twist left elbow to the right this time. Checking on the position of the knees, reaching over the toes, and then twisting through the whole back to the right. Inhale as we return to center. And then forward fold. Step right back, please, to downward facing dog. So one foot, other foot brings us back to our downward dog. Ooh, that feels like a nice wide base after that chair. Then keeping both palms and left foot connected, we'll again send the right foot out to our three-legged dog. This time allowing the right hip to open up towards the ceiling to whatever degree we like. We can even play sort of back and forth between parallel hips and open, providing sort of an internal massage to the hip joints, the lower back, the psoas, and then circling the knee, bending the knee and circling it one direction. Feeling that ball and socket joint. And it's beautiful motions that are possible one direction, the other direction. And then once more opening up the knee to the ceiling and the toes reaching over the left side. And then squeezing the knee in towards the chest to step it through and forward. Next to the right thumb. This time let's rotate the back foot flat so we can come into warrior one with the next inhale. Not the easiest position for many people, but a very stable one once it's established. So let's sort of sink into that stability of the front knee reaching over the middle toes, bending the back knife edge of the left foot, nice and connected with the ground, sensing length between the fingertips and the back heel. And then opening carefully into warrior two, keeping our front knee reaching over the middle toes, maybe broadening that back foot stance. So we're in a nice stable warrior two, arms reaching front and back, and gazing over the front hand as if through a telescope into the far distance. Then we'll follow that hand up and back with the inhale for a little peaceful reclining warrior. And I always like a little arm circle here. Let's do that. Allow the arm to make a full circle. And then with the exhale, coming forward into our side angle. And also swimming the arm, circling the arm there, just to enjoy that range of motion. Let it release. Once again, inhaling to come back. And then circling the shoulder blade along the back. And exhale. And allowing that to circle. One more inhale back to our warrior two. And exhale, right hand and left hand back to the floor, coming onto the back toes. And we can either meet directly in downward dog or come through a flow for a little more energy expenditure, warmth creation, dynamic exercise, however you like to think of it. And meeting here again in downward facing dog when we arrive with the inhale, inflating and exhale, sigh, it out, let it all go. And with the next inhale, the left foot will follow suit, reaching up and to the back through neutral, and then opening the left foot up a little bit more of a standing split shape, and then dancing through internal and external rotation with the back leg and the hip, and exploration of some circling with the knee. You can do figure eights. Really stir it up and listen to what the body's asking for and also what our mind is asking for. Sometimes we want to be more creative with our shapes and how we're moving through them. And once you've circled both ways or completed that exploration, we'll bring the knee up and forward towards our nose and step it through. And then rotate the back foot flat, the right foot flat, and come on up to our warrior one on this side. Each side is individual, so we'll check in, squaring shoulders and hips more or less to the front as is comfortable, grounding through both feet and then sinking with the lower body and feeling lightness and ease in the upper body as it reaches skyward. And then with our next inhale, opening up like a flower to the side or like a leaf, really. This is leaf imagery. We're letting go of our excess leaves for the winter as we inhale up and back and allow the arm to circle and exhaling forward and down and circle. Again, in your own pace, twice more, following the breath back and then allowing the arm to release and forward. Stability below and freedom above. I lost count actually. I think we're doing one more here than we did on the other side, but that's fine. It's all good. But when we're ready, we'll inhale, finding our warrior two shape once more, and exhale, left hand and right hand coming to the floor, rotating on that back leg. And again, choosing between a vinyasa flow or going directly to downward facing dog or child's pose. In fact, let's do that child's pose. Sounds good. I'm going to gently sink my knees slowly down onto the floor again, either keeping them narrow or wide. That's a personal choice you can make at this point in the practice. And another choice is between the arms extending long in front of you or painting the mat back alongside our legs. And then another deep sigh. Let go of the effort or any tension that's built up so far. Letting the weight sink back, hips over heels, and forehead gently connecting the floor. We can rock the head side to side on the floor to massage that third eye area, to release the tension between our eyebrows and our worry muscles. And then to stretch the side body and shoulders, we can also keep the elbows connected to the floor in front of us, bring the palms together, and then a reverse namaste behind our head. And from here, walking the elbows a little bit more forward and sitting the hips back may provide, with the breath, some release along the side body and shoulders. If not, that's fine too. It's all good. And then with the next inhale, or when you feel ready, we'll bring the palms back into contact with the floor in front of us. Look between the hands, tuck the toes, all of the toes underneath, and then send the hips up and back, returning to downward dog. Then either walking, springing, however you want, just to the middle of the mat. So we're meeting feet and hands together right in the center. And rolling slowly up, tail to head. And again into our mountain pose, feeling the depth, height, width of our mountain. And then what would a fall practice be without some tree pose and some ideas about rooting down through that network of roots into the ground and releasing our excess leaves or whatever needs to be let go. So you can face wherever you like. I'm going to face you and ground my left foot into the floor, toe by toe. So being aware of my little toe, the next toe, the middle toe, the second toe, and the big toe, all rooted. And I kind of like this idea of how many trees actually are reaching their roots so far to the side. They have a taproot that goes down deep, but then they end up sort of intertwined with other root systems. So let's use that energy and that image as we peel the right foot off to whatever degree we want here, and then rotate the right thigh out and knee to the side, and then place our foot where we like on the leg, maybe way up high on the inner thigh, connecting those 2 points, or wherever else feels right. And there's energy rooting down, out to the side to connect with our other imagined root systems all around. And then also connecting between inner thigh and the sole of the foot. And we can also connect through the palms of the hands. That's a nice stable place. And then options. We can reverse the namaste. Sometimes that's a nice sensation through the back and the chest and the shoulders to connect in the back of us. So you may try that if you like. Or we can reach the arms long overhead, sensing the length in the side body and through the spine, as if we're being pulled in opposite directions. Or take on whatever shape you want. My foot has lost connections. I'm going to replace it and press also with the inner thigh towards it. Aha. It can be a Christmas tree, a pine tree, a eucalyptus tree that's all fragrant, a beautiful red maple. Now I can shake out anything that doesn't belong, or allow the wind, imagined or real, to brush away any excess. And then when we're ready, we'll float the thigh back up into the air directly in front of us. And one more balance position here for fun, hopefully. Crossing the right ankle over the left knee, we'll sit back into one-legged chair. Sort of a figure 4 stretch too, maybe stretching a bit more through the hip joint here in that externally rotated position. And if that's plenty, hang here, sensing length from tail to fingers. Or if you want more, we can put the hands together and lean the arms onto that shin bone. Or as I just demonstrated, put the fingertips on the floor. Sometimes this balance doesn't work so well for me, and you can just make a forward fold out of it. Can feel really nice and well supported. Or there's another option where you can bind around that shin with the arms. That one's not always very easy. If you want a challenge, give it a whirl. Then We'll meet back up in the version with the body upright, floating the thigh to the chest, and we're placing it to the earth. My feet are burning, so I'm going to circle the ankles out or shake them out. Again, shake out tension, a little bit of stress through the lower leg. Balance. Let's see about the other side. So in the same mindful way, connecting one toe and the next toe and the next toe of the right foot onto the floor or the other foot. Reversing sides, having a triangle of support there underneath the foot. And imagining that root system reaching deep and wide in all directions as the left foot comes up, rotates out, and then connects where it will onto the right leg or thigh. And then you can experiment with that same arm shape that we had on the other side or others. Oh, yeah. So we had the reverse namaste option. Or reaching long, or all of the above. Or just letting the arms drift where they want to, or they may. We can even gently circle the wrists, work out the fingers. It is an option to close the eyes to challenge the balance more. You don't have to take it. Sensing that stability at the base and freedom at the top. Well, then, as we're ready with the inhale, release the thigh up in front of us again. And crossing the left ankle over the right thigh, sit back strongly into our one-legged chair. Figure 4 stretch. Of course, part of the challenge is trying to keep those hips fairly neutral. That's fine if they twist a little bit, but aware of what's going on there, and then choosing to remain here with long arms above us, or bring the palms together at the heart center, or lean more deeply forward to bring the elbows to that shin, or the fingertips, the fingertips to the floor, or even binding one elbow around the foot, one around the knee, and meeting the hands together where they want to be. Stretch and strength at the same time, stability and also ease. So one more breath cycle here if you like, or come on out. And then we'll all release from one-legged chair, floating the thigh back up, and then replacing the foot onto the ground, and shaking out both feet again, shoulders, hands, whatever is asking for it. Softly releasing the knees down to the floor, into child's pose. Then moving forward onto all fours as we're ready. Gently walk ourselves up to a seat, if desired. And then with the eyes still closed, or sort of soft focus on the world around us. Finding the sits bones again underneath us. Stacking up the spine. Choosing whether to have our palms down or flip them over and bring them up. Receiving the energy from outside. And then as we're ready, we can bring the hands, palms together at the heart center, feeling the warmth of the palms pressing together, the warmth of the heart. And then bringing our thumbs to the third eye. Namaste, we'll fold forward and acknowledge ourselves for showing up here. Acknowledge each other for being here together, bringing our attention to our thoughts and our words and our actions, going into the rest of the day or the evening. Namaste.